Race fans, start your engines for a non-stop thrill ride.
This is what NASCAR is.
It's the most high-octane countdown show ever, bringing you the 10 greatest finishes in NASCAR history.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
From the Dale and Dale Show,
Hold her down there, Dale,
to the greatest rivalry of all time.
Just chugging along, trying to get to the finish.
From the Intimidator's toughest loss.
You talk about close but no cigar.
Where did he come from?
To Harvick driving like the man in black.
What a race! What a finish!
From the king winning by inches to the closest finish ever.
It was so close that I couldn't call it.
But only one can be number one.
The gloves certainly were off.
He can't help those four idiots in front of him crash.
This is more than just a race to the finish line.
And I happen to be involved in that.
Who would have guessed it?
It's a journey through time.
I don't know how you can script it any different.
Buckle up and hang on for the 10 greatest finishes in NASCAR history. Number 10.
1986, Richmond, Virginia, Miller 400.
Now walking right inside. Side by side.
This is the old Fairgrounds Raceway.
Here freezing all day long, and it was kind of misty, and the parking lots were muddy.
Earnhardt and Darrell's leading. I'm running fifth.
Darrell and Earnhardt were just beating the devil out of each other.
Waltrip and Earnhardt. Typical.
Those guys beating and banging, and they finally got fed up with each other.
Each one of them decides, I can't win this race. You're not going to win this race.
Darrell just barely nudges him out of the way, and Earnhardt says, nope.
Four cars, there we go.
Earnhardt just gets tired of playing with Darrell, and they both wreck going into turn 3.
You think it's just going to be a two-car wreck, and then it turns into this catastrophic wreck.
Nine into the fence. Joe Rudman spins around. Who's going to win the race? Where's Kyle Petty?
Kyle looks like he's driving through a parking lot at a shopping mall.
Tiptoeing through the tulips.
Kyle Petty is slowed down. He's going slow.
All right, well, now who's going to win? And here comes Kyle Petty just out of the mayhem.
Kyle Petty's going to win his first race.
Kyle Petty's going to win the race.
397. I think Kyle's going to take it home.
Obviously didn't have a winning car. Obviously took the trophy home and the money because of Earnhardt and Darrell.
He can't help those four idiots in front of him crash, and he won the race.
Who would have guessed it? Kyle was running fifth. He grabbed the victory for the Wood brothers.
Number 9.
Come on, Dale. Go, baby, go. Here he comes, Earnhardt. It's the Dale and Dale show.
Ned Jarrett, easily one of the most respected gentlemen in the business, working as the analyst, able to call the finish for Dale Jarrett.
A father gets to call his son's Daytona 500 win on national television.
You can hear the emotion in his voice.
Hang on the inside. Don't let him get on the inside of you coming around this turn.
Everybody's all up tight and tense, and of course you're racing Earnhardt.
You know who I'm pulling for. It's Dale Jarrett. Bring her to the inside, Dale. Don't let him get down there.
Come on, Dale, you can do it. Come on, Dale. Hold her down there, Dale. Don't let him get under you.
He's going to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500.
The opportunity to call the Daytona 500, our biggest race, and call your son winning that race and beating somebody like Dale Earnhardt Sr., that was a very special moment.
Television focused over to Martha, Dale's mother, sitting down in the infield.
Oh, look at Martha. Oh, dear. Oh, can you believe it?
The pride of the dad watching his son.
You did just exactly what you had to do, like I told you, right?
That's right, exactly like you told me all along, Dad. Thanks for everything. I appreciate it.
One of those feel-good moments when a dad just could stand there and be just so proud of what his son had just accomplished.
You just could not script the situation any better than the Jarrett family at the Daytona 500.
Number 8.
I couldn't really tell from my vantage point who won the race, but if he won, it was by barely a foot.
When you think of Talladega, you think of wild finishes, you think of unexpected winners, you think of underdogs getting their chance.
Now, you talk about close but no cigar. In 1981, we looked like we were getting ready to win another race at Talladega.
Terry Labonte and I had the two best cars.
We were battling really hard with Terry Labonte.
It was going to be a battle between he and I.
Darrell and Terry are side by side as they head down toward the checker flag.
Now, to the outside goes Labonte.
We're coming down to the line. We're coming through the trial, and I'm easing over him, and I'm easing over at him, and I'm easing over at him because trying to break his momentum a little bit.
I was a crew chief on this race car, and out of nowhere, here comes Ron Bouchard in the 47.
And man, we finally get to the start-finish line, and I beat Terry by maybe 6 inches. And I finally got there, and I looked up, and I was so excited, and a car went by. So I said, man, I don't remember laughing at anybody.
Ron Bouchard slingshotted right around both those guys.
Where'd he come from?
I looked up and I was shocked. I had no idea that he was even anywhere near.
Bouchard comes up the inside. 3 cars side by side.
Ron Bouchard had come close a number of times. If there's a race he's going to win, it's going to be one of these. It's going to be one of these races where everybody's driving wide open. A lot of guys have a shot at winning.
He may have won it by a foot.
You wondered why they put the start-finish line at Talladega down where it was.
The checkered flag is all the way down toward turn 1.
Over the years, that has really created some incredible finishes.
It was just incredible to have to lose a race that tough. But, you know, that particular day, it was Ron's day.
Number 7.
Richard Petty is counterattacking. This may be the race that we're looking at here as they sweep up into traffic.
Everybody had been waiting for Richard Petty to win his 200th race for quite some time, and it was this national countdown to the course. No one had ever won 200 races, and the King was nearing the end of his career.
The President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, was there. What really stands out is the shot of Air Force One landing with the cars on the backstretch.
You've got the President of the United States flying into Daytona to watch that Midsummer Classic, the Firecracker 400.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
NASCAR wasn't just a sport that day, it was a current event.
It made everybody pay attention.
The President of the United States is here for our event.
This is not Richard Petty arriving with his fan club. It's President Ronald Reagan. And then how that race ended with Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough.
Door to door, you don't know who's going to win the race.
They're coming to the start-finish line.
It was one of the closest finishes we had.
A highly dangerous situation.
Coming down the front straight. Here they are, Sam. They will come across the yellow line. Just about together, but Petty had the lead.
I mean, this race was scripted, right?
Just winning the race by inches and getting up there to meet the president, you have to think, how does that happen?
200 is very, very important, but under the circumstances, with all the presidents that's ever been in the United States, this is the first one that's ever showed up at a racetrack.
That was a huge moment for him because the way he looked at it, here's a small town guy from Level Cross, North Carolina, who just happened to drive a race car, and he's standing next to a president.
Could Hollywood have written a better script?
You know, sometimes things just line up in terms of fate. That was one of those days.
Coming up next, Dale's toughest loss and Davey's wildest win.
Oh, man, he didn't do that.
Earnhardt actually got booed on that night.
They're going to burn this place down.
He just absolutely crushed that wall.
Sparks are flying everywhere.
When the 10 greatest finishes in NASCAR history returns. Time now for the honorable mentions that just missed the 10 greatest finishes in NASCAR history.
The photo finish at the first Daytona 500 was
Johnny Beauchamp was initially given that win.
It took them 3 days to find the guy that shot that picture.
So 3 days later, they come back and they declare my grandfather the winner.
Labonte is sideways, but wins the race, crashes, and he wins anyway. How about that?
Dale caught me, gave me a little shot in the back there, and I just stood in the gas, and, we beat him across the line.
Number 6.
Anytime you go to Bristol Motor Speedway, you know there's going to be some action.
And Labonte inside of Earnhardt. He taps him going into the third corner.
When you got a couple of hardheads like Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt racing for the win, you just brace yourself. You know that's going to be a good one.
Labonte got by. Earnhardt used his stuff up. Labonte smooth, passed him clean. I mean, it was impressive.
A leader change and Labonte takes the lead.
Earnhardt drives it in harder than he has all night. He comes in there, he hits the leader at that time, Terry Labonte, sends him flying.
And meanwhile, Ricky Rudd trying. Oh, and Earnhardt spins him out.
It was vintage Earnhardt. He wanted the win.
In a typical Earnhardt fashion, he drives away, Labonte spins, and everybody behind him gets caught in the wreck, and Dale drives to victory.
Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
And then getting out of the car with that little Earnhardt smirk on his face and swearing to God that he didn't mean to wreck him.
I was going to get back to him and just rattle him. I wasn't going to wreck him, but I got to him and he turned him around. So didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rattle his cage, though.
I just meant to rattle his cage.
Well, I didn't really mean to get into him. I just wanted to rattle his cage a little bit.
I just meant to rattle his cage.
You rattle his cage all right. Shoot, he meant to knock him out of the ballpark that night.
Well, that was pretty unpopular with the crowd at the time. You never heard so many boos when somebody jumped out of a car in victory lane. But at the time, Dale was the black hat, man. He was the villain, and Terry was the nice, calm Iceman.
The man did whatever he had to do to win a race, and that was testament to him because I'll give it to him. He shocked me. I was speechless.
Number 5.
The white flag coming down to Dale Earnhardt.
1 lap to go. Does anybody have anything left to cope with the man in black?
This is going to be that great moment, and so all the Earnhardt fans are on the edge of their seats.
Finally, Dale Earnhardt is going to win a Daytona 500.
CBS is showing his wife Teresa and his baby, Taylor Nicole, and everything's great.
If anybody's going to beat Earnhardt today, they've got to shoot his tires out.
He's got it in the bag. That race is done. It's over.
Half a lap to go. 4-car shootout to decide it. Earnhardt slopping back. Something is amiss.
Something's wrong with Earnhardt. What is going on? Earnhardt's got a flat tire.
What do you mean he had a flat tire?
The seas just parted, and Derek Cook drove to a Daytona 500 win.
It's Labonte pulling up, and an amazing finish. The Whitcomb Racing Team has won it.
Dale had as many weird circumstances to keep him out of victory lane at Daytona as any driver's ever been there.
Derek goes on and wins, and Buddy Parrott tells the story. He didn't even know how to get to victory lane. He had to ask him for directions.
Number 4.
1 lap to go. He's going to get a shot at him. Kyle Petty is there. He is just a car length back of Earnhardt.
All the hype was put into this race. One hot night, full moon, hot temperatures, all that stuff coming together in the All-Star race.
It was the first night race ever at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It looked amazing.
And we're watching this race unfold, and we all knew it was going to be something very special.
Dale Sr. was leading the race on the last lap, and he was trying to keep Kyle Petty behind him.
And Earnhardt went so deep into turn 3, and I thought, there is no way he's going to make it out of turn 3.
He goes in so hot, he slides up the racetrack. That opens up the door for Davey Allison and Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty coming to the checkered flag. Here comes Davey Allison to the bottom.
Kyle, had to basically get into him to stop his momentum, and we all know what happened from there.
It'll be the finish. Everybody was waiting for it. They crashed past the finish line.
Davey made serious hard contact with the outside wall.
Davey Allison's car crashes into the wall.
Davey Allison actually had to go to the hospital.
And when it was all said and done, he is okay. He got the win.
Davey Allison never made it to victory lane that night. I remember that, but his car did.
Unfortunately, Davey was in the hospital, and they would all have to get together later on and do their celebration.
It was a spectacular finish, and it's one of those moments in Charlotte Motor Speedway history that you always think about.
2 of the biggest names in Allison and Petty come to the start-finish line after getting around Earnhardt, who went up the track. It was just one of those storybook nights, and just glad Davey was okay.
One of the most dramatic moments in the history of NASCAR racing, and it fulfilled the promise of one hot night.
Coming up next, Petty and Pearson tangle, and Harvick's heart-pounding triumph.
It was a magical moment.
These grown men are just sobbing.
I don't know how you can script it any different.
Oh my God, this is incredible. Petty makes it past Pearson. Looked like they were in a demolition derby or one of those figure 8 races.
When the 10 greatest finishes in NASCAR history returns. Welcome back to the 10. This is number 3.
Get up off your seats. Here they go. Just like a year ago. He's going to get him, though. Here they go. Gordon got loose. It's Harvick. What a finish.
I can only imagine the emotions that were coursing through Kevin Harvick's veins as he made that final trip down the backstretch on his way to that checkered flag.
Under the pressure of sitting in a car that was driven by Dale Earnhardt.
They changed the number from 3 to 29, but it still had Goodwrench on it.
The memory of Dale Earnhardt's death was obviously still very fresh from Daytona.
And a lot of folks wondered how the season could possibly go on.
Richard wondered, do I go forward? Do I keep racing without Earnhardt?
And they pulled a relatively unknown Kevin Harvick to drive this race car.
They named Harvick to be Dale's replacement.
Look at Harvick at that 29. What a little hot rod he is.
We're watching the race thinking, it would be pretty cool if Kevin Harvick won this race, but nobody expected him to.
New face in the old man's car.
Harvick somehow manages to beat Jeff Gordon to the line.
6/1000ths of a second.
You have to wonder if there may have been some divine intervention there.
Seeing Richard Childress and the crew and all the fans holding up that 3 sign. I like to say sometimes I'm a tough guy, but that day I really did. I teared up.
These grown men are just sobbing.
It was a healing day, not just for Richard Childress and for his race team. It was a healing day for everybody in NASCAR.
Yes, this is the reality. There's somebody else in that car who is successful, and we have to let Dale Earnhardt go. And for Harvick, it was a magical moment.
I don't know how you can script it any different. As everybody can know, I'm sure this is going to be pretty difficult for all of us, but none of us expected this soon, and the unfortunate circumstances, and all I got to say is this one's for Dale.
Number 2.
You're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
This was the pinnacle, as the Daytona 500 is, the Super Bowl of stock car racing.
Petty and Pearson, they've had these great battles. They had them before that race. They had them after that race, but this was the penultimate match between Petty and Pearson.
That was a typical Richard Petty, David Pearson race. One would lead, then the other would lead. One would lead, then the other would lead.
They're bumping a little bit. You got that red and blue Petty car and that white and red Pearson car. And they just keep going back and forth.
Petty comes back down in front of Pearson, clips him.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming in the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line.
And then both cars slide to a stop, and Petty's trying to get his refired, and Pearson's car finally coughs back to life and just sort of limps across the line.
David Pearson moving down through as they come to the stripe. The winner is car number 21.
My father's sitting in the middle of the infield grass, and we all run out to push him. And there's cars buzzing down the racetrack, and you're running out across there because all you're concerned about is getting the car across the start-finish line.
I was wanting to get in the TV screen and help them push those cars across the start-finish line.
Those kind of finishes are special, not only because how the finish takes place, but when you can pit two of the sport's all-time greats together, that's what make that finish one of all-time great finishes in NASCAR.
The cool part that I remember about that race more than anything else was they wreck, Pearson wins, King runs second, and not a bad word is spoken between either guy because they had so much respect for each other. It was just a racing accident. It was a Daytona 500, so be it. You move on to the next race and you go from there.
Coming up next, the greatest NASCAR finish ever.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow!
You want to be that aggressive? I'm going to be this aggressive.
Door handle, beating and banging.
Amazing.
The closest finish in NASCAR history.
When the 10 returns. Welcome back to the 10. We've seen 9 amazing finishes so far.
Here comes Kyle Petty, just out of the mayhem.
I think Kyle's going to take it home.
It's the Dale and Dale show.
Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500.
Bouchard comes up the inside.
Ron Bouchard had beat us back to the start-finish line by inches.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
That was a heck of a sight to see Air Force One going down the back straightaway.
Oh, man, he didn't do that.
Earnhardt actually got booed on that night.
Something's wrong with Earnhardt.
What is going on?
Something is amiss.
Derek goes on and wins. He didn't even know how to get to victory lane. He had to ask him for directions.
And they slide across the start-finish line.
Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks. What a race! How to finish!
These grown men are just sobbing.
I don't know how you can script it any different.
Oh my God, this is incredible. Petty makes the pass Pearson. Looks like they were in a demolition derby or one of those figure 8 races.
But now it's time for the greatest finish of them all. This is number 1.
Who's going to get off? Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got him this time. It's going to be a drag race. Whoa! They touch. They touch. Craven got him. Have you ever? No, I've never.
If you were going to make a movie about NASCAR, you would use the Craven and Busch finish at Darlington.
All right. What a finish.
That should go down in history as one of the greatest finishes ever.
That finish was amazing.
Conjures up memories of Ben-Hur, the great Charlton Heston movie where, you know, the wheels are going side by side.
This is what NASCAR is. It's just fender to fender leaning on each other.
I'm talking about door handle, beating and banging.
The two cars were sliding all over the place, hitting the wall.
And in the wall goes Busch.
But Kurt was still pull away, and Ricky was better in one part of the track than Kurt Busch was.
2 guys racing for the win at one of the most challenging racetracks that's ever been built.
Not only just the finish, but the last 8 to 10 laps.
Every lap was like, are they going to make it out of the turn?
I don't remember who was running third, but I'm thinking he had a pretty good shot at winning the race.
Here comes Blaney. Blaney now the best car on the track. Oh, baby.
That racetrack is barely wide enough for 1 car, much less 2 cars.
You talk to any rookie
at Darlington and you don't go in the turn side by side.
We both drove down into turn one, side by side. You don't do that at Darlington, and we both slammed into each other, slammed into the fence.
That was not a very good idea. Look, the crossover move, he got into it.
And then I was like, well, if you want to be that aggressive, I'm going to be this aggressive. He took the white flag, and I think he knew this time not to drive into turn one side by side.
Here he comes. Here we go again. He's going to wait on this. He's going to put the crossover on it. He realized that wasn't a good move that last time.
They came off turn 4, banging on each other, pointed basically at each other. I knew neither one of them was going to lift off the gas.
When I came out of turn 4, his car came up, mine came down a little bit, and they just locked together.
The metal clanging together was kind of an eerie sound.
It was tough because not a lot of people know, but my power steering was gone.
And I grabbed all the wheel I could to turn it back to the right.
If you look at it, the steering wheels are not pointed straight ahead, they're pointed into each other.
I don't know why it happened, how it happened, but they just stayed together from that point all the way to the start-finish line.
You're standing there wondering, are they going to make it? Are they going to make it? Are they going to be able to make it across the start-finish line?
Mike Joy says, have you ever?
Have you ever?
And Darrell Waltrip immediately said,
No, I've never.
You could not tell from the naked eye, standing there on pit road, who had won the race.
And I remember thinking at the time, when I asked Kurt Busch afterwards, he thought he won, I thought he won. It was so close that you couldn't tell.
I looked at his A-post, and it was right here with my A-post, so...
We looked in one of the pit boxes for a replay. That's when we saw that Ricky Craven won by about 6 inches, the closest finish in NASCAR history.
Closest finish in history happens at NASCAR's oldest paved super speedway. When they built that track, obviously they got something right.
He beat me by 0.02 of a second. I mean, it's amazing. The more times I tell the story, I feel like I'm going to win the race one of these times.
we may broadcast races for another 10 or 20 years, and we may never be able to call a finish like that.
And I remember actually getting to Kurt Busch, and all I could think to say when I interviewed him was, "That was a hell of a race." That was a hell of a race. I don't think I asked a question. I think I just made a comment.
It's the highlight of all highlights.
It was the perfect finish to a race.
The winner is car number 21.
Somebody just went past somebody.
He may have won it by a foot.
Oh, that poor girl, she needs help.
Oh!